till the lights go down, 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 till the lights go down, down, down. I've been feeling alright, I've been taking.
What is going on, guys? Crypto Vibes here, also known as Crypto, bringing us another video. And today, guys, what I have for you is my week 1 matchup in the UPC Season 4, going up against Bash and his New York Mews. So yeah, going up against my good pal Bash, aka all the wrong opinions. I'm very excited for this game, as he's definitely got a pretty broken squad, I can say so myself. But yeah, if you guys did not watch the team or the draft analysis video, be sure to look back at that. But you guys can see my team right here is these two bottom lines right here is my team, and yeah, it's pretty solid. Everything here is actually in order for the way I drafted too. So you already know Mega Ampharos was my first pick in the draft. So we're gonna be beasting and feasting with that thing all season if we can. And we got a pretty nice squad, if I could say so myself. Very unorthodox to a lot of teams, but I like it the way it synergizes together. So but anyways, you guys can see Bash's team. It is these two lines right here with the consistent of the Mega Salamence, Magearna, Victini, Crocodile, Roserade, Machamp, Silvally, Regirock, Rotom Wash, Selgor, Kangaskhan, Comfy, and his users are the Magearna and Victini. So definitely, in my opinion, probably the scariest S and A tier combo in the draft. Mega Salamence plus Magearna, I believe, was a core last season. That we took a season off last season, but that was a core last season that was really broken. So it's definitely going to cause a lot of problems this season as well. So I have to prep accordingly for that. Although I do feel I have pretty good checks to the Magearna. Mega Salamence is a little iffy, but I did feel like I prepped the best I could in my ability for it, at least for this time around. In case we play in the future, I may have a couple other things up my sleeve, but for now I have what I prepped for the Mega Salamence and whatever. But yeah, basically some of the bigger threats I see on his team, the Mega Salamence is definitely one. The Victini is a huge threat to my team. It kind of two-shots most everything if he clicks the right move. As well as other things that are pretty big threats. The Rotom Wash is a pretty big nuisance to my team. It's quite annoying, to be completely honest with you. So that's something to keep in mind. Silvally was very annoying, but luckily your boy has something prepped for that. Got to give a shout out to somebody whenever I get to that, but yeah. Anyways, looking at the matchup, I kind of expect to see these 6 Mons on his team. I expect to see the Mega Salamence and the Magearna. Or not, yeah, I do expect to see the Mega Salamence and Magearna. I do feel like the Magearna is checked pretty decently by my team, but I do expect to see it still. I expect the Victini, I expect the Crocodile, I expect the Roserade, and I expect the Rotom Wash are the 6 I expect. So basically these first 5 right here, and then the Rotom Wash. With Crocodile being like some kind of rocks variant or whatnot, the Roserade is kind of like the Victini. It can pick a move if it picks correctly. It kind of just blows something back. It's a big problem for my team for sure. As well as something like the Rotom. Just volt switching around is very annoying. So luckily I do have my Seismitoad Lando combination, but still gotta watch out for things like Hydro Pump Toxic and stuff, because Rotom can just be quite annoying to my team if he plays right. And then if he sets his team up correctly and tries to get something like Mega Salamence to sweep at the end, that definitely could be something that I need to be watching out for and be very careful about, especially if he's able to get rocks up early with something like Crocodile. So without further ado, I will go ahead and hop straight into the team I decided to bring this week. We're going to go ahead and start off with my boy Falcon Punch right here, the Talonflame. As you can see, this Talonflame is a max special attack variant with Timid Nature, 208 speed, creeping his Mega Salamence. I didn't know if I probably could have crept down to what his Mega Salamence would have crept on my team, meaning his Mega Salamence would have tried to creep my Gengar. Probably meaning I could have crept this Mega Salamence creeping my Gengar, but I decided to go pretty basic with this just in case Bash was like in a rush for EVs or something and he just went max on his max speed on his Mega Salamence without even thinking about it. So this way I ensure that I 100% outspeed it. And that's that. But as you can see, the combination of Z Solar Beam, Fire Blast, and Hidden Power Ice is pretty nice against his team. Z Solar Beam's there for 2 potential physically defensive walls I could see coming on the Talonflame, which is Regirock potentially if he brings it, and then Rotom Wash more than likely would be a switch in. I could see it every time. So if I get some kind of chip on that, Z Solar Beam is just a great way of blowing it back. As you can see here, I have the Workup on deck. Obviously, if he sees the Workup, he's going to expect special, because why would I bring Workup if I could bring Bulk Up or Swords Dance? You know. Workup's the only other explanation. No recovery on this, and I'm also going to break it to you, I have no removal on this team as well. So Talonflame basically comes in and needs to claim a kill or whatever, and it's basically done its job this game. So Yeah, Talonflame's there. We have Hidden Power Ice there for second Mega Salamence, and then Fire Blast for General Stab. The Victini can check this set very nicely, but I don't really expect that to be his initial switch in. And hopefully by the time Victini wants to come in and be a potential switch into this, I have rocks up, so that thing will be taking potential rocks plus even a Fire Blast, so it's going to be taking quite a bit of damage to help the rest of my team check it and beat it a lot easier. We're also rocking the Flame Body because we have no flying coverage on this set at all, so if he ever wants to come in with something like a Mega Salamence and I want to use this as like I want to sack it or something, and he wants to go for a return or something, then he could potentially get burnt. As well as something like a Crocodile going for knockoff or something. It's just a better than Gale Wings in this scenario. So yeah, that's the Talonflame. Getting into my next mon, this is my Mega Salamence check ish. It's pretty much impossible to check that thing. Well, I mean, no, it's not. That's a bad way of explaining it. It's not impossible at all, but it's a limited check. We are rocking the Akaberry Avila tabletop here with Avalanche, Earthquake, Recover, and Toxic. Just fully max defensive. I didn't really go into depth on the EV spreads for this thing. Pretty self-explanatory. Akaberry is there for potential Fire Blast on the Mega Salamence, the lore. So basically, anytime this thing comes in against Mega Salamence, I will be clicking Avalanche every single time. So obviously, I could be losing a ton of momentum if he brings in Rotom Wash or even Magearna on this. Then that's why I really just need to get rocks up early, because this thing gives up a ton of momentum, but I really can't afford to predict every time the Mega Salamence comes in. Because if he clicks Fire Blast on something like me just clicking Toxic, he breaks my Akaberry and then he can knock me out the next turn, and Mega Salamence is a lot bigger of a threat when it comes in the next time around. So yeah, pretty self-explanatory. It also does pretty good against the rest of his team. If Mega Salamence goes down early, it can help check things like the Crocodile quite easily. It can even take a physical. It can take any physical hit from Victini and hit it with an Earthquake. Earthquake's also there for the Magearna. It does about 35% to it, I believe, 35 to 40 some. So that's great damage in my opinion. And I'll be looking forward to at least not letting the Magearna set up on me. So that's always nice. And yeah. Other than that, a lot of things causes things some trouble. Special Victini can kind of blow through it. Magearna blows through it, obviously. Roserade can blow through it with any special kind of coverage. Rotom Wash is a huge problem for it, but I need it for the Mega Salamence especially, so that's the reason we're bringing it. Next mon we have is Atlas, our Landers Incarnate, with rocking the Life Orb with Earth Power, Hidden Power, Ice, Rock Polish, and Sludge Wave. So this thing's really, really good against his team. His ground resists / immunities are Mega Salamence and the Rotom Wash, I believe, are the only two, or some kind of Savali form, but if Savali comes at all, it'll be Savali Poison or something along that lines of that. Something like that I'm expecting, but yeah, Mega Salamence, or not Mega Salamence, Landers Incarnate right here, the Life Orb variant. We're just rocking enough speed to outspeed his base 100s like Victini and whatnot. This is also, Victini is also something I can potentially set up on with Landers Incarnate. If I play it like I'm Scarf, then I can potentially get a Rock Polish up in a crucial scenario and sweep late game with this thing. Hidden Power Ice is obviously there for Landers, or for the Mega Salamence. Earth Power does quite a bit to everything else. I believe it I believe it 2-KOs everything outside of a very, very Spadef Mega Kang, I believe, or not Mega Kang, but regular Kang. And then we have the Sludge Wave to potentially 2-KO a specially or a physically defensive Rotom Wash, which I think he will be to help check my Talonflame. So Sludge Wave is just good neutral coverage to hit that thing, especially if it takes a couple rocks turns. Sludge Wave will just be really good at just weakening that thing down for sure. Landers Incarnate is just another good offensive weapon for my team this game, so that's why I'm bringing it. Next mon we have here is my Toadsworth, the Seismitoad right here with the Rindoberry, packing Earthquake, Stealth Rock, Ice Punch, and Toxic. Rindoberry is there to make this thing pretty much an indefinite check to the Rotom Wash. Best thing he can do to me is Toxic me. If we trade Toxics, I'm completely okay with that. The Rotom Wash is a pretty big threat to my team, like I already mentioned, so I definitely want to be able to put that thing on timer as soon as possible and just chip it down with rocks and whatnot. So this is our rocker this game. We have Ice Punch, so the Mega Salamence can't just set up on us. Obviously, Intimidate is a thing before Mega, so it's going to make our Ice Punches do a lot less, but it is there to at least weaken the thing to potentially help something coming and revenge it. Earthquake's there for General Stab, helps obviously not Magearna set up on us and stuff like that, so that's really good. Also, it's probably my best response to a Victini, so that's that's nice, I suppose. Yeah, it's a pretty good pivot into things like Victini and whatnot. If I figure out he's like Choice Scarfed or whatever, I could see him bringing a special set with like Energy Ball or something, so that's something I need to watch out for. Rindoberry also helps with that, so that's really good. And yeah, that Seismitoad pretty much does what it needs to do. Next mod here, need to give a shout out to my boy Sketch AV for recommending this set to me. I originally had, what did I have on this team originally? I had a Life Orb Gengar set, and I rocked around with that, and also messing around with different Solgaleo sets. But ultimately, he recommended this set to me, which is Mufasa, my boy Solgaleo, right here with Leftover, Sunsteel Strike, Morning Sun, Cosmic Power, and Toxic. Rocking a pretty mixed defensive set right here with a good amount of Spit F. But basically, the set he recommended was Sunsteel Strike, Morning Sun, Cosmic Power, and Toxic. Basically, kind of a variant that can beat his team if he's not running HO. So if he's running kind of a standard balanced team, then this thing can definitely set up against the majority of his team. And once he gets up to +2, +3, it can pretty much take any hit from his team, and Toxic and Sunsteel Strike anything down. So this thing is looking incredibly good in that scenario. So yeah, shout out to Sketch for that set. Indeed, this thing can definitely be a monster this game if I play it right. Only thing that would suck a little bit, I suppose, if it gets burnt, then my Sunsteel Strikes, then Magearna can potentially set up on this, which obviously Magearna would need to set up a pretty good amount to even break through this if I have potential Cosmic Powers up, and he has no recovery on Magearna outside of like a rest set, which is an unset, but you know it's Bash, you could probably bring that, so we'll have to watch out for that. And last but not least, we are bringing Amon. I didn't really want to bring this game, but I am going to bring, because the Rotom Wash is something I need to just be able to pressure offensively a little bit better. So we have my Figgy Berry Tapu Bulu right here with Woodhammer substitutes in Headbutt and Stone Edge. El Rio, if I didn't already say that, that's the bully right there. And we are rocking enough speed right here. It's kind of a creep for the Rotom Wash if he's creeping my Tapu Bulu, so it's kind of a back and forth creep right here. So that's that. The attack investment is just max attack adamant, and then the rest goes into HP right here. Nothing crazy on the set and whatnot, but substitute into Woodhammer is going to get me pretty low on health, even with the grassy terrain up. So Figgy Berry I thought was a pretty solid item. Also, if you guys didn't know, there is an item clause in this league, so basically to any given match you cannot bring 2 of the same item. So as you can see right here, we have Figgy Berry, Leftovers, Rendo Berry, Life Orb, Aqua Berry, and Grassy MZ, all different items. So basically I couldn't rock like 2 Leftovers users or whatnot, which is usually pretty common, so I gotta be careful not to do that. So yeah. The Figgy Berry Tapu Bulu right here, Woodhammer just puts a ton of pressure on things like the Rotom. Stone Edge doesn't allow things like Mega Salamis to set up for free, as well as it hits the Victini if I'm behind a subs, and Headbutt allows me to hit the Roserade, which ultimately could be a pretty big threat to the Tapu Bulu, and I do expect the Roserade to come. So yeah, that is basically the Bulu set. If I would say I'm weak to anything on this team, I would say I am a little weak to a potential Machamp set if he brings it, because my best switch into that at that point is Seismitoad or Talonflame, and I don't want to use Talonflame as a switch into that. So if he wants to use something like Machamp plus Victini to break down my Seismitoad, that could be a pretty big threat, so I gotta be careful about that. But yeah, that is going to be it for the team builder, guys. I'm going to go ahead and cut and get into the battle, and I'll see you shortly. What up, pimps? We're back with the battle, guys, and as you guys can see, Bash has elected to bring the Crocodile, Salamence, Mega Salamence, Victini, Rotom Wash, Machamp, and the Savali form. This is a little lag. I'm going to go ahead and reset this so it doesn't lag. But yeah. So a little bit of things on his team I was surprised but not surprised to see. No Magearna, so I mean I can understand his reasoning behind not bringing it, but it was still something I had to prep for, as the thing was a monster against me. But I can understand it. I have double fire plus double steel on this team, so that's something that kind of scares away other steel types, which is really cool for my team. But yeah, that's that. He did elect to bring another thing that I said in the team builder could be a pretty big problem, which was the Machamp over the. He brought the Machamp and Savali basically over the Magearna and Roserade, which I expected. But yeah, like I said, my Seismitoad is going to be pressured quite a bit this game. So if I can get up my hazards up early, not Machamp, but Seismitoad has potentially already done his job. So I need to get up rocks. So that kind of leads me to my initial lead right here, as I do expect him to lead with something like the Rotom Wash or Victini to begin with. So I think Seismitoad is a pretty solid lead here. So that's what we're going to do, is he decided to lead with his Rotom Wash, and we are just going to go ahead and throw off our rocks as he decides to Toxic me, which I thought was probably the best thing he could do. And right here, I believe I throw off a Toxic of my own as he switches out and goes into the Savali Grass. So I see Savali Grass right here, and I was really surprised that he brought Savali Grass. I think he said after the battle he wanted a decent switch into Tapu Bulu, which I guess is fair, considering Roserade can't really be a switch in like Sin Headbutt and whatnot, but I thought Roserade made more sense to like offensively pressure my team. But Yeah, this thing is definitely a problem with it's a move parting shot. But one thing I forgot to mention in the team builder is I have this cool thing on Solgaleo called Full Metal Body, and not only does that block, or not only does that stop its stats from getting lowered, but it also has this cool little effect where if you switch into it on a parting shot, it actually just completely stops it. So that's what we're going to do right here. We're going to go Solgaleo, and it forces his parting shot to fail, and he takes more toxic damage on top of that. So that is really, really solid. Right here, I thought he could potentially go into Crocodile or Victini, so I'm actually just going to go ahead and throw off a Cosmic Power and kind of scout out to see what he wants to do, as he is going to go right ahead and throw off the Heat Wave. Unfortunately, it does miss, but that was going to do like 20% anyways. And on top of me having leftovers, that would have pretty much done nothing. So right here, I am actually going to go ahead and just click Toxic again on his Heat Wave, so kind of making it even out a little bit for him missing. Unfortunately, it is going to take a little more toxic damage, but you can see that does very, very little to me, and I'm going to leftovers that off. And he is getting quite weak, so I'm going to Cosmic Power up once again, as he's going to go ahead and throw another Heat Wave off, get me a little bit lower, but he is going to ultimately die to the Toxic. So he's going to bring in Crocodile right here, so I debated him potentially maybe being a Banded set, because otherwise I thought he would potentially go into Victini and try to bot me, because a Banded or really offensive Victini had a chance to knock me out with a fire move from this range, so it pretty much would have made me force me out and put me in a situation where I need to scout out the Victini set. But he goes out to Crocodile here, and I can definitely take a Banded knockoff and Morning Sun that off, and also I would be able to tell the damage of his Banded at that point. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click Morning Sun right here on his knockoff, and as you can see, that does about, what did that do, 26% or 34%, sorry. And I'm going to be able to Morning Sun that off easily, and he brings in the Victini now on my next Cosmic Power, and at this point I'm +3/+3. I am going to stand and see that he's Blue Flare. So yeah, he goes for the Blue Flare right there, and that's not going to do anything to me, as I believe I throw off a Toxic right here. And yeah, so this is the beginning of where the Solgaleo starts to just put in some really, really nice work, as with rocks up, things on timers, Solgaleo is just doing what I needed to do right here. So yeah, like I said, shout out for Sketch for this set, really putting in work here. And Victini is getting completely weakened and taken down, but he unfortunately does burn right there, so the Blue Flare burn kind of sucks, but luckily he does not have the Magearna in the back, so I don't have to worry about that setting up potentially on me. So yeah, not as big of a threat as it could have been. But this is really good. Victini is very much lowered, and something like my Seismitoad is still at full health, only Toxic, so that is very good for the Machamp. As the Victini finally does go down, and I'm sitting at +3. So it brings in the Crocodile again. I suppose fishing for crits at this point with the Earthquake. I believe he has Scarf Crocodile, but that does extremely, just tiny damage to me, and I'm going to be able to just click Morning Sun right here on his following Earthquakes, which he is just going to go for, which is definitely fair at this point. If he can get past the Solgaleo, I would say his best potential way of winning would still be trying to sweep with the Mega Salamence, which I'm assuming is Dragon Dance in the back, but luckily I do have Stealth Rocks up, which is really good for Talonflame's Hidden Power Ice. Hidden Power Ice into Rocks has a chance to knock him out if he's not rocking any HP, so I do expect him to have some HP, so that is something. But anyways, I'm just Morning Sunning out his Crocodile right here. But actually, after this next Morning Sun, I believe I am out of Morning Suns, and he is going to die to Toxic, but right here, I believe he brings in the Machamp. I'm out of Morning Sun, so I cannot recover anymore outside of leftovers, but the burn is canceling that out. So right here, I Toxic the Machamp, which I didn't really think he'd be Guts, but he actually is Guts. So I guess that kind of sucks. I made him a little bit stronger, but I am just going to Cosmic Power up again here. I guess I should have Sunstone Striked, but I think I do that on this next turn, as he has -2 right here, so my Sunstone Strike is going to be doing a good amount. Even though I am burnt, you can see that does 50% right there. And with the Toxic, I believe he does... Does he go down here? He goes down to 7, so he gets one more hit off him, or not one more hit, but he's going to have me pretty weak down to 20%. But as you can see, Solgaleo has done the job right here. And Mega Salamence is going to come in, not be able to intimidate me, but he goes for Earthquake right here and knocks me out, which is fine. I am going to be able to go ahead and bring in my Avalugg right here. I know he can easily go into Rotom right here. There's no reason for me to predict. Like I said, when Mega Salamence is out, there's just no reason to predict. And even if he does go into Rotom right here, and he predicts me to switch into something on his Rotom and pivots back into Mega Salamence, he is in range of my Talonflame's Hidden Power Ice at that point. So that's really good, as well as Avalugg still being at full health. I'm not going to let the Rotom do anything to my Avalugg here at all. I am going to pivot out into my Seismitoad right here, potentially try to put this thing on a timer. Like I said, my Seismitoad has Ice Punch as well, so I can Ice Punch the Mega Salamence if it wants to come back in. He doesn't even have Intimidate anymore, so I will be able to Ice Punch that down. And I put the Rotom on the timer right here, so that pretty much ensures that I think I have the game at this point. I just can't let the Mega Salamence get up to +1 and potentially crit through my Avalugg or something. But my Avalugg does have Sturdy on top of that, so yeah, it's pretty much checkmate at this point, as long as I don't let the Rotom hit my Avalugg. But yeah, Solgaleo set really put in a lot of work. A couple things didn't have to hit the field, like Tapu Bulu and the Landorus. You are going to see right here. I debated switching out on one of his Toxics right here, but he started going for Volt Switch, I guess, predicting me to switch out, so I just let Seismitoad go down. But Talonflame is going to be able to hit the field because I wanted it to pick up these last 2 kills. Reveal the Bloom Doom right there, knock out the Rotom Wash, and then I can go for the Hidden Power Ice to knock out the Mega Salamence. Yeah, like I said, good game to bash. I was terrified of his team going into it, but that's probably going to be every team coming into this season, as yeah, this league's just a ton of Uber, so yeah, most every game is going to be terrifying. Yeah. But after this week, we did make a transaction, actually. We decided to pick up Nihilego and drop Gengar. So Gengar didn't get to make any appearances to any games this time around. Unfortunately, I thought Nihilego had a couple matchup advantages throughout the season that could help it out a little bit better. Also, it gives me another Fire Resist. My team is a little bit, or another Fire Resist. My team was a little bit weak to just Fire Stab, so it gives me another Fire Switch in, especially on the special side, so that's really good. As well as just being a very solid mon, especially under grassy terrain. It can definitely help it a little bit, maybe even take an Earthquake with like the combination of grassy terrain plus Shukaberry, just because its physical defense is so bad. But yeah, next week we are going to be taking on Honor and its Portland Primates. Be sure to be on the lookout for that. I will have the Team Builder Plus battle for that. No face scan this time around. I did not feel like really just putting on, to be honest, this time. Might have it for next time around, but we will see. But without further, no, that doesn't make any sense. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me, guys. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if new. Really would appreciate it. And that's gonna be it. Peace.